I still see City Hall, Billy Ray.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Okay, we're glad to be at Berea as always, and at this time I'd like to call the meeting of the Madison County Fiscal Court order. Ken?
Master King?
Here.
Master Barger?
Here.
Master Hughes?
Here.
Master Combs? Here. Judge Clark?
Here. You all have had a chance to look at the minutes of the last meeting. If there's no discussion or changes, motion will be in order to approve those. It's submitted in your packets.
So moved. Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs? Yes. Judge Clark?
Yes. Treasury report, Glenda gave that at our last meeting, and you have copies of all the claims in there. And if you have any problem with any of those, Glenda will be here after court meeting to answer those. And let's see. Francis, did I do an amendment? Did I ask for amendment? Well, if I didn't ask for it, I don't guess we're...
No, we went ahead and got that done before.
Oh, okay, okay, before we had the packets out. Okay, first we have a proclamation from the diabetes emphasis and Kim and Kent. I think I'm right, aren't I? Would y'all like to come up or either side and tell us a little bit about what you're presenting?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have the proclamation.
Well, I figured you had that memorized.
Well, I do.
No, if you want to read that to share it with the court or the group or not.
Well, just tell us a little bit about the
Okay.
organization and
Okay.
what you all doing.
Okay,
And why it's so beneficial to
Okay.
those people that have diabetes.
okay. Well, my name is Kim DeCoste, and I'm here with another Madison County Diabetes Coalition, Ken Scott, a coalition member, Ken Scott. And we represent, I guess, the voice of people in Madison County, committed to improving the lives of people with diabetes and making people more aware of the impact. Hopefully, you've driven around town sometime and around the county and out here in front of the City Hall in Berea. You've seen the flags in front of our courthouse, downtown Richmond, up at the Arts Center at EKU. And each one of those flags represents 25 people with diabetes in Madison County. So we have over 8,500 Madison Countians who have diabetes. And then it not only affects them, but it also affects their family members. We know that there are problems with things like blindness, heart attacks and strokes, kidney disease, lower extremity amputations, those types of things. And the good news is those things can be prevented. So it's important that we make sure people are aware of it, doing the things they need to do, the physical activity, healthy eating, keeping weight as close to normal as possible to help to prevent or delay those complications. And I appreciate the things that we've done in Richmond, Berea, and Madison County as a whole to improve that. I love our new Madison County Park system. That is key. Things like the walking trails at Battlefield, those kind of things that make people know that we're committed to improving the lives of people and giving opportunities for physical activity and healthier lifestyles. So we appreciate what you all do and support, and hopefully that will continue.
Thanks, Kim. And, you know, we're really interested, too, as a fiscal court. We've gone to Union City and Kirksville. We just completed 2.5 more miles at Whitehall, and hopefully bid out another 2 miles from 25 in. So we're going to have about 6.5 miles out at Whitehall State Park.
That's wonderful.
So we're encouraging people to use it. We can get state funding and federal funding, and ask them that they utilize it and make better sales of theirs.
That's what
Now, do you want me to read this proclamation?
if you're willing to.
There's a lot of big words in it. but
It is a
I'll try.
lot of words.
Whereas diabetes is a serious disease that has no cure, but can be controlled and affects over 250 million people worldwide, including 25.8 million U.S. citizens, including 336,000 Kentuckians and approximately 7 million Americans who don't know they have diabetes yet, which includes 6,560 people in Madison County. And whereas 308 million people in the world have pre-diabetes, including 79 million U.S. citizens, which includes 226,000 Kentuckians, and is a condition that puts them at the highest risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And whereas diabetes is the 6th leading cause of death in Kentucky, and more importantly, if left uncontrolled or untreated, diabetes can lead to devastating complications and premature death. And whereas diabetes affects people of all ages and all socioeconomic backgrounds.
Socioeconomic backgrounds, yeah.
Okay.
Socioeconomic.
Affects
I
people
told you
across the
there's a
whole
word in there,
spectrum.
Billy Ray. I looked over before I started. Okay. Increasing among children and adolescents. Millions of people with diabetes lack access to care, treatment, and education needed to manage the disease and prevent its serious and costly complications, including heart disease, stroke, kidney failure, blindness, and lower limb amputation. And whereas an increase in community awareness of the prevention, recognition, and treatment of diabetes can improve the likelihood that people will get the attention they need before they develop the complications. And whereas the United Nations General Assembly invites governmental and non-governmental organizations to observe World Diabetes Day in order to raise awareness of diabetes and its related complications. And whereas the United Nations encourages the supporters of the UN resolution on diabetes to fight the worldwide epidemic by ensuring that people with diabetes have access to treatment and education. Now therefore let it be resolved that I, Kent Clark, Madison County Judge Executive, Steve Conley, Mayor of Berea, and Jimmy Barnes, Mayor of Richmond, and I'm going to add, along with the Richmond City Commission, the Madison Fiscal Court, and also the Richmond City Commission, that we all call upon Madison County residents to recognize and control this disease and its devastating complications by learning the warning signs of diabetes, making healthy lifestyle choices, and accessing the highest quality of care that Madison County, Kentucky can provide to the citizens with diabetes. Thank you so much, Kim,
Thank you.
for coming.
And I invite you all and anyone else who's interested to participate in our prevention classes and our diabetes classes that are also receive support from the court through the health department. So thanks so much.
Thank you all for coming in, I really do. And I'm sorry I missed the word.
That's okay. We should have just.
I read over it before I started, and that's why I wanted you to read it. Because I couldn't figure it out.
Hey, Judge, where are the extra 2.5 miles? Behind the house?
Huh? Yeah. We go all the way around the back of the house. We come behind the playground and tie into the park down by the lake.
Last time we were out there, we noticed that they were doing some work back there, but didn't know exactly what it was. So that's
We
great.
did it all in-house. We had an $80,000 mark. I'm glad you brought it up. $80,000 ICT grant. And we did a $20,000 match and did all the work ourselves. And just cost the county about $20,000.
So it's a real gem.
It really is. Okay, Kenny, I think you have some election expense you'd like to discuss?
Yes, sir. I'm coming to court and asking to approve the pay for all our precinct officials, reimbursement for them bringing the supplies back in election night, and for the folks that open the polls and close the polls for us, the janitors, custodians, most of the schools that need us there, we pay them also. While I've got the floor, I was going to go over a few statistics, and thanks several folks. County voted 59.6%. That's only 8 counties in the state that voted more people than we did. So that's,
Really?
yeah, it's right in line with, we're higher turnout than some other counties. Election day, my staff logged over 1,800 phone calls. And that comes to a big thank you to Mr. Israel for setting up our phone system so that could happen. We completely changed over our phone system day of election so that we could have all those phone calls routed either from precincts going straight to 4 or 5 people and everyone else calling from outside that went to 3 or 4 others. Without his help, we wouldn't have been able to answer all those calls. There's no way. Also want to thank Mike Cole and the Sheriff's Department. They were right there whenever we need them to go out and check electioneering signs up at the polls. They're a real big help. And also my staff that came in, which actually was a day off. We called a few extras in. They were willing to come in and help, and without them, we wouldn't have been able to service the county and the Board of Elections. Wanda Dean and Chandler Combs, who always do an excellent job, and without them, elections wouldn't happen in Madison County. People think it's the clerk's office to put the elections on. It's not the board, it's the Board of Elections. The clerk's office is a big part, but the board has to make the decisions. We have already begun the process of gathering the data of what went well, what didn't go well, and we'll start with the next round of improvements. We've got a year off with elections, so we've got a lot of work can get done in between now and then, and hopefully our counterparts in Frankfurt will see fit to redistrict so we can change some of these precincts and save a lot of money. It's just over $36,000 that I'm asking for today to put this election on. If we can reduce our number of precincts, we can cut a lot of the money out, about $7,000.
Is there room for
That's excellent.
putting some of them together?
Yes, sir. We have
5 or
precincts.
6?
We have precincts, some precincts that vote 10 people, just because of the way the magisterial lines and our house lines have fallen. We had to cut those precincts out. Now that we've reapportioned magisterially, we've got the plan in place to
And
move those,
Kenny, you
reduce those
might
precincts.
let the court know that each precinct costs the same.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some precincts, smaller ones, of course, it's a minimum of 4 election officers, and some precincts have 6. So and we have combined some of those precincts. So we'll put a small precinct in with a medium-sized precinct and have 6 election officers. We do as much as we can to cut the cost, but we have to have a minimum of 4.
Even if you don't
precincts.
have a certain party running in that election, you still have to have those people?
Yes, sir.
I don't understand that.
Well, it's a 2-party
There's
system.
no Democrat on there or no Republican.
They could still be a write-in though.
Yeah, well, you have to have 4, and you don't have to have, you have to have one Republican, 3 Democrats, or 3 Republicans, 1 Democrat. But you have to have state board approval to do that. So if you run short of people, you can allow you to make those changes.
Voted too.
Yep.
That's what you call government efficiency.
No, that's what you call, you know who they voted for.
Talking about
We've
having 4
been,
people when you
Keiko and the judges and the magistrates and the clerks, we've been lobbying for years and years and years to get some more help, because nobody realizes what it costs us
Yeah.
to run an election. I mean, it's astronomical, and the states, of course, they're like everybody else, they don't have the money to help us.
Right.
So it really costs the taxpayers of Madison County a whole lot to run an election.
Yeah. We're fortunate in Madison. Knox County is getting ready to have their 7th election in 13 months. Just between specials and all the generals and primaries and the wet dries, and they don't know how they're gonna pay for it.
They can't pay for it. I think ours is, Glenna, costs us about 45, 50,000 election.
At least, 'cause you're talking about 36 just in the pollers, and then
Mhm.
you got park, you got pay,
Right.
probably
Yeah.
40,000. It's more like 80.
Right. Yeah, this doesn't include ballots or anything like
And
that.
we
It's
get
just the
reimbursed
labor.
about 50% of that, so it costs,
Our reimbursement is $11,000. What we get reimbursed on
have they dropped us that much?
Yep.
So it costs the taxpayers a whole lot of money.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I would need a motion on Kenny's recommendation to pay the election workers and any other expenses that he might have incurred during our recent election.
So moved. Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Next is a contract, and we should have had it in a while back, but like everybody else in state government, things are moving slow, and there are a lot of things are going on. But Madison County has a contract between the Kentucky Transportation Department with unincorporated urban places of Madison County urban areas. And this just amounts to, we've always had this, it's, I don't know how much, it usually runs $60,000 to $80,000.
81,000.
80. And what we do is ask Leroy and his staff to go out. These roads have to touch an incorporated part of Richmond or Berea. And we just got this, so I'm not asking y'all to approve any certain roads, but I need authorization from the court to enter into this contract with the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Department and Rural Municipal Aid and the Fiscal Court for the unincorporated urban place of Madison County urban area. And then we'll come back at the next court meeting once Leroy goes out, looks at those roads, and ask for your permission. But I do need authorization before we lose it on the $81,633 to enter into this agreement.
Will that go into the 2012 budget or the 2013?
No, it's the 12.
12?
Yeah, we should have got it beforehand, but we didn't.
No, this is the one for next year. This is the
Yeah.
one for next year.
Yeah, we already got it last year.
So
This
it's
is the
beginning
12
July.
The fiscal year 13 budget.
Okay.
12 and 13.
I make that motion.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Cole,
Yes.
Judge Clark.
Yes. Okay. Want to talk a little bit about, and Doug's here. Doug, if you'd come up, if you wouldn't care. We talked about it a couple of meetings ago. The ideal, the possibility of doing a 50 to even 100 bed Class D felon facility that we could lower the intake, lower the population at the current jail, which he's running about 80, 90, or 100 over. And we think we could put it in the lower part of the parking lot. We bought, in the last 10 years, we've quietly bought 2 or 3 of the lots across the street for parking. And we met with Brad Black, and what we need today is, and I'll let Doug talk to you, House Bill 463, Doug, it gives counties the opportunity to enter into agreements to do this, and you don't have to do like the $325 square foot jail buildings, because these people are out working every day. They come in, they come out, they get drug tested every day when they come in, and I think it would be a great opportunity for the county. But the commission, who is just now being set up by the General Assembly and the governor, wants to make sure that the fiscal court is interested in doing something like this, because they're not going to waste their time and effort. They're not going to spend a lot of effort into looking this unless we're interested in it. And I'm going to let Doug talk to you all a little bit about the overcrowding, how many state prisoners we're losing, what that cost is, and see if we are indeed interested in looking at this. And then I'm going to take it up a little bit, because Leroy and I have talked about it, and we feel like we might do it for a lot less than what the architects are saying. Doug?
Our population, we're keeping around 290, 280, 280. There, it's probably been, I don't know, 5 or 6 times we went over 300. I'm not sure the numbers that we sent out, but stated, I know I sent 10 more last Friday, just trying to ease the population. For the Department of Correction sends me an email stating they're going to take 20 or 25. So I try to send a little at a time, and we're getting $31.32 a day per inmate that we send out. We received a letter from DOC a couple weeks ago. They'll allow us 125% over our capacity, which is 195. So they'll let us hold around 245 inmates. And they stated in that letter that the judge and I received that they would come and get those inmates who were over. And Brad and I, Brad Black and I and Judge talked about if fiscal court wants to do this. Brad don't want to go into something if we don't want to look at this seriously. He wants to make sure that we're interested before we dig into a lot of paperwork and go hunt a lot of stuff to send to DOC. He wants to make sure we're really interested in doing this. Again, we've been overcrowded for quite some time. I took office January 3rd, 2011. We were at 240, 50 inmates, something like that. Since I've been there, the lowest we've ever got down to is 240. The highest is 304 that I can remember. But we've been overcrowded. We have like around 65 state inmates that we receive monies from, and we have 230 and 40 county inmates that we don't receive any monies from. So, state versus county inmates, it's very costly, and we're sending a lot of state inmates out. Again, you know, I don't know. Be our best interest to build this 100-bed, 50-bed facility, you know, but Department of Correction wants some information on where we want to go. And again, Brad Black wants to make sure that fiscal court wants to do this, wants to look further into this before he goes actually digging into and getting a lot of paperwork.
And the bottom line is the county's growing and growing and growing. And as the population grows, so does the jail population. And it's like Doug said that 210, 220, 230 are Madison County residents, and we don't collect any money until 5 days after final sentencing. So a lot of them are in there on the taxpayer's dime. And we just want to know if the fiscal court's interested in looking at a facility that we could put, personally, I'd like to do 100 Class D felons that we hold here.
We can. I think that we've sent over probably 300 or more state inmates out since I've been jailer. I'm pretty sure we could hold 100 every day. Take Simpson County. They got 250 inmates. They hold 200 state inmates. They got 50 county inmates.
What's their secret?
What's their? You know, I guess that county's crime population is, you know, as far as county inmates, or they're getting them sentenced quicker. I don't know their secret, but I talked with Eric, the jailer there, and he got 230. And I think a couple weeks ago when we were in Jailer Association training, he had 230 some odd people, and 200 were state inmates. And again, we've sent over 300 out since I've been there in almost 2 years, which we received 31, 32, or 31, 34 a day per inmate.
Of our county inmates, how many of them's Class D?
60. I'm talking about a state inmate, Class D, controlled
Class D
intake.
felons. I
We
mean,
have about 65.
how many Class D felons do we have?
We have break it down to Class D, I'm not, right now, I don't know, I'd have to look into it. But if we're talking about monies we receive from the state for holding a state inmate, we have around 65. And right now, we're at around 290 some odd inmates right now.
I was looking at the feasible part of it. I mean, I know that we are overpopulated, but then the cost, initial cost of building another building, would we be prosperous
Would we benefit?
or break even, you know, with the cost of the taxpayers' burden already is to pay for a building? And I don't see that we're in the long term that it would help, because as looking at it is if we relieve 100, as we know our population's growing and crime has been more and more evident every day, that where it would relieve the tax burden of the people is to build another facility. I don't see it unless we initiate a bigger facility that where we could hold more, because I mean we don't want to build something just last a couple more years and then we outdated there. I guess as we always say, looking 20, 30 years down the road, where we're going to be, you know, as the jail now, which is what, about 20-year-old, is now it's overcrowded and you know.
Here and again, like I said, it's not gonna get no better, because we're growing and growing and growing. So what do we do? I think we have to make some kind of decision on to do something, because when you have your overcrowding in your facility, it causes a lot of problems, and we've been fortunate not to have a lot of problems since we put the camera system in, and I need to put some more cameras in, but it's an issue.
Just thinking, I mean, if we send all the state prisoners back, what would be the cost difference of,
If we didn't have any state prisoners?
if we didn't have it?
700-something thousand a year that we wouldn't get.
Be another,
We wouldn't get.
Yeah.
That's
Right
a-
now, just to give you an idea, a month, we bring in $65,000 to $75,000 a month from state prisoners. If they come in, because we're overpopulated, like he was talking, if they do come in and take, you know, how many straight?
They could probably take 40 right now, 40 or 45 state, that'd leave me with 20.
It would kill us.
They took, in Mount Sterling, they took all of theirs but 10 in Mount Sterling. And then the judge and I received a letter a couple of weeks ago, the Department of Corrections said they will come in and remove them.
and
Yes.
they have made a clear statement that unless fiscal court makes a decision to do something about the overcrowding, they will come in and take the state prisoners out, at least 40 at one time.
Well,
And we have
there's no
budgeted-
decision for us to make then. Well,
You're gonna have to do
if you had to spend $500,000 on a building, and I don't know what the operating cost would be, and if you divide it out and it ends up costing you $33 a head to man another facility, you're just swapping money.
Exactly.
So I don't,
That's what I told Doug.
are we just barely gonna come out on the cash flow just a little bit ahead by
Well-
building a facility and crewing it up and operating it, feeding and all that stuff?
It'll-
Judge, are
right.
you gonna know until you actually do the study? I mean, is that what you're hoping to do? to
Well,
get some
the
numbers?
rough estimates, Mark, are 750, 800,000 to build this building.
How
So-
many beds is that?
Huh?
How many beds was that be? That 50 or 100?
50, maybe.
50.
750,000 for 50?
But we, on the other hand, as the most efficient county in state government, and I've talked to Leroy, we have a construction crew, a concrete crew. We feel like that if you all are interested in proceeding with this, we could let the architect proceed and maybe do it for 50% of the cost of contracting it out.
This be all one level or?
It just, if we want to go 50 beds or 100 beds. If we want to go 100 beds, we'd probably have to go 2 levels there.
Can we even build on that parking lot where they're still monitoring?
Can we bid one now, Larry?
Can we even build a building on that parking lot where they're still monitoring?
Because the
I thought you
EPA
could
stuff.
only use it for parking.
They're monitoring well.
You know, they're still monitoring that land.
Well, gas station used to be there.
There's a convenience there years ago.
So they're still monitoring. My understanding is you can't build on that, but you can use it for parking.
Oh, that, I don't know.
Well, I was in a situation like that, and I'm not saying that that's correct, and I'm not saying it's wrong either, but that would be the first thing to check. Wouldn't
Leroy and I just talked about that yesterday.
it? Well, I didn't, so I didn't know.
So, what we have to look at, but first and foremost, are we interested in proceeding with this? Or are we not interested in it?
What do you think, Doug? What do you think ought to be done?
Well, I think that, you know, and I mean, my opinion on what I think we need to build a new jail and use the old one for a juvenile facility, but that's never gonna happen.
I'll make that motion.
You know, but that's not gonna happen.
But we can't hold juveniles.
Yeah, but that's not gonna happen, but we have to do something. I think we all agree that we have to do something. We've all made that statement. We're overcrowded. We need to do something. So if we're not gonna build something which, you know, 10 or 15, $20 million facility, we've gotta do something in order to relieve the population, because I don't see it getting any better. Our community's growing, crime's growing, and it's not gonna get any better. So you know, we don't wanna put a Band-Aid on it either. So, you know, I was talking with the judge, if we do 50, let's just go ahead and do 100, because I know we can keep 100 state inmates. I know we can. We've sent out over 300. So I know we can keep these people, keep that money coming back in here. So we all know we have to do something. And I think this is if we're not gonna build a new facility, this is where we need to go. The cheapest route, which we can keep 100 inmates, because we'll have to have that staffed. But if we were to break even by doing this, say, we're still relieving the overcrowding population out of that jail that's there now. You will have near problems if you got 100 out of that. If you take 100 and put 100 in that facility, if we build 100 bed, you can still keep state prisoners in where they're at now. So you still keep a certain amount there also. So we could possibly keep up to 150.
Well, there needs to be a lot of thought go into it. Not only, say if you build 50, you build 100, it doesn't matter how many you build. You've got all the help you gotta have. Then you're gonna have to talk about the kitchen. Can your kitchen handle another 100 or 50? What about the laundry? You know, but there's just so many things.
Well, there's a lot of things you have to look at. You're right, there's a lot of things you have to look at. And I think before we do make a decision, if we were to do this, is let's get together, sit down, let's talk about do we need a laundry room in that, or do we need a kitchen in there, you know, or do we not? There's a lot of things that we'll have to sit down and talk about and go through and cross every T and dot every I to make this work.
But Doug, the thing you have to look about is you're feeding 100 more than you're supposed to feed right now.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
And you're doing the laundry for 100 more than you're supposed to be doing anyway. I think the jail's 192 bed. So, you know, all of a sudden, we're in this small facility. We have not a whole lot of places to go. And is it a Band-Aid fix? I don't know. 100 beds for Class D felons?
It's a big Band-Aid.
Well, it is, but
Super glue on it.
then if you look at a $15 or $20 million prison like Henderson County did, and you go out in the county somewhere.
What about the side there, Judge? You know, we had plans and stuff for that, and that was 100 beds to the right-hand side of the jail instead of the back.
Talking about where the Miller building is at? I mean, I like that idea.
I mean, did we have some preliminary?
But the Miller building was really more to expand the office space.
Administration.
Because there really isn't a lot of room there. But we can look at that if y'all are interested in it.
I don't need no
but
more office space.
I'm not making the motion to tear the Miller building down.
Well,
I would. We can build a replica of it and put it out.
Y'all forget that.
It's gonna fall down anyway, Judge.
I know.
We can build a replica and
That's
put it
what
out
we're
front.
waiting on, for it to fall down. Or a snowplow truck to run into.
Oopsie.
I told Doug I'd like to see some kind of figures showing me on the high end what it would cost to build the building and what it would cost for the employees that's gonna take for an extra 100 or 50 inmates, and what it's gonna cost to feed them, and the insurance and things that we're gonna have to pay on the new employees. You know, and then versus that compared to what our payment's gonna be when we get to the other end of a new building and more prisoners.
But what you have to understand, Roger, with the new House bill, is they have reduced a bunch of the employees on Class Ds. They've reduced, I mean, they're trying to help the counties.
They are.
They really are. They've reduced so many, I mean, restrictions that we've had so far on per prisoner, per square foot and stuff. And we're not making the decision to do it. We just have to make a decision today. Are we interested in going forward with this? Because the committee that's been assigned by the General Assembly and the governor, if we're not very interested in this, then they're not gonna waste their time fooling with us. Doug, am I right?
That's correct.
If we're interested, if we've got a viable interest in a 50 or 100-bed facility that we could put right there, you know, and it's because the House bill, they lowered so many restrictions. I mean, to build a jail is $325 a square foot now. You can build this one for $110.
There's a lot of things we can do different. We don't have to have the stainless steel sinks, commodes. It can be like a house commode in your home and things
I mean,
like
it's
that.
like a house. You can do a pole barn.
I think it'd be cheaper, old barn.
So is the question whether or not that the court wishes to do this in the event that it's economically feasible?
Exactly, Mark, but we need to make a decision and send a resolution to the committee that was created by the General Assembly through the House bill that, yes, Madison County is interested in pursuing this if indeed it's feasible for the taxpayers of the county.
No obligation to the court if the court examines it and then realizes it doesn't make sense.
No, but they want to know if we are really interested in making this decision. And that's the bottom line.
Well, I
Does
guess
that help you at all?
the biggest thing is the overall cost of it. As, you know, I guess as we
I mean,
get it in, that we could find out.
and Greg, look, and Willie's here, and Leroy's here, and Keith, construction crew, but now he's back at the animal shelter. You know, we build our own buildings. We built our own shops. We've built our own offices. We've built our own maintenance barns at the golf course. We've done everything and saved probably 40 or 50% on everything we've done. Keith, how many buildings do we have at the animal shelter now?
Oh, we've got, well, 3 full buildings and a big addition on the other.
And who's done them all?
Me and Leroy's.
That, exactly. And I'm just gonna ask you this off the top of your head. Probably if we'd have contracted it, between doing it ourselves, how much money did we save?
Oh, easy $300,000 just on my facility.
Yeah.
And I see the figures at the state level from the other animal shelters, and they cannot believe what we can do for the price that we do, and ours usually exceeds their quality.
So what I'm asking the court is, this could be a windfall for the county, for Doug. I mean, y'all don't know what he's going through with 100 over capacity over there. I mean, you don't know the phone calls I get.
I think
France, did you say?
Yeah. Could it also, in these reports that they're asking for, or some figures they're asking for, you look at what it's going to take away from our budget if they pull all our state prisoners out? Because that's gonna be a figure that if you don't enter into this agreement, the county may have to face.
Well,
$1
they're
million.
not gonna pull them all out, they're only gonna pull 40, and that's $350,000.
No.
Doug just said 40.
However many were over.
No.
No, I'm just, they'll allow us 125% over our 195 bed capacity
So
allowed,
it
which
could
is,
be up to
which is
60.
240 inmates.
That's right.
They could come in and take them all.
Well,
I'm just
yeah,
saying
they're not
240.
gonna take 'em all. They don't have room for me.
Well, I mean.
Well, they took Mount Sterling, or Mount Sterling left them
That's what I want to do, is
10.
compare to what we'd lose to compare to what we're gonna pay.
How many state inmates do you average right now?
60.
I mean, I have in the 60s right now,
65.
65
So
right
they
now.
took 40, you're talking about 2/3 of our, and it's 750,000 total. So you're talking. the
At
general fund-
$33 apiece.
Yeah, the general fund could be out, we've already budgeted.
Another
that money in.
million.
If we don't get that money in, the general fund's gonna have to fund it, be like 500,000 at least,
Another-
coming from general fund.
So $500,000 if they took.
So
Yeah.
what we're looking at is trying to take the burden off the taxpayers of keeping the crooks. That's the bottom line.
I'd be for it, and if we go 100 beds instead of just 50.
And I agree with you,
I agree.
Greg. I do. I think if we're gonna do it right, do it while we're doing it. And then let's get a price, but let's show the committee that Madison County Fiscal Court is interested in following up on this. And then we'll do 100 bed, and if we have to buy a little bit more land on First Street, I don't wanna say that, cause it'll go up all of a sudden. But,
Just
you know, let's look at it. And, you know, I'd like to have a motion to say that, yes, Madison County Fiscal Court, we wanna do a resolution that we'd like the committee to follow up and show us what we can do and what we can't do,
If it's feasible.
if it's feasible, Roger, and we're not making any commitment.
What was the motion that, there's a couple meetings back that I got you a copy of?
It
You
was,
needed to-
Well,
second the
it
vote.
was really nothing.
Okay, because I mean, I'm making sure that we did document this once and I
I
passed the
need-
notes on to Doug.
I thought we made the motion to.
But we did, but it wasn't, it wasn't that we were realistically looking at the opportunity to do a 50, or Greg, like you said, 100 bed. And I'm a 100 bed man myself, because
Okay, so
I
what
think
I'm saying
it,
is we need to craft this motion
yes.
specifically.
Is there some type of
So that we
language
satisfy the
that has
requirements.
been approved by LRC or some other committee?
You know, there's just been a county or two that's done it, Mark. So it's,
See if they have any guidance.
we could do a model, but we could go on and do the resolution and then start getting some prices. Do we do one floor? Do we do 2 floor? Let's look at the space we have. It's like Larry said, brought up a good point. We've got a couple of gas wells down there from the old Dairy Mart that we had. Or, you know, do we wanna go across the street? We already own some land over there. But I think what they're looking at is, are we really interested in doing something seriously about getting our jail population down to where it needs to be?
You wanna make the motion?
I'd love to.
Make the motion.
Well, I would make a motion, resolution, asking the fiscal court to proceed with no commitment, Roger, but ask the committee that we are very much interested in looking at our options on what we really need to do to provide a 100-bed Class D facility in Madison County.
I'll second that.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
My vote is a split vote. I wanna help you, and I wanna do what's right, but I don't wanna go this route.
I know.
Because I think all it is a Band-Aid, but I know it's gonna look better if the court's unanimous, so I vote yes.
You the man, Larry.
I don't even know like there's no win in this.
Yes, Kenny.
No, it's not.
We just, we don't have 15 or 20 million to go out in the county, and I'm gonna look around at all 4 magistrates and ask which one of those districts they'd wanna go to with a 500-bed prison
I know
facility.
where one is.
Thank you,
I'd
Judge
like for a council to find out how Simpson County only has 50 county inmates.
You know, there's a whole lot of
Thanks,
issues
Doug.
involved, whether somebody's classified as a Class D or still on the county's dime. Every county is different. I'll tell you that we spend most of our time trying to figure out how to reduce our population rather than increase it,
Yeah.
which is an unusual thing for a prosecutor to do, but Doug and I have conversations quite often about trying to do something to reduce it. But the reality of it is, the way this area is growing, the prescription problem, the methamphetamine problem, until we get a handle for that, it's just gonna continue to increase. And then you figure out, well, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna let these folks continue to be a menace to our society? Or are we going to somehow house them and protect our public? And it's a trick. It's a very difficult thing to do. But we are very mindful when we prosecute cases.
And Mark, you all have the toughest job in the world because you're sitting there like, what, 400 or 500 in a day. Do we let this guy back on the street?
Well, we had 280, I think, on the arraignment docket this morning. A lot of those are traffic offenses. A lot of those are small offenses. Some of them are very serious. But that's got to be nearly the rule rather than the exception.
It is. Do we put him in Doug's jail?
You know,
And-
this doesn't take in consideration also that jury and the sheriff's department's got, what, 40 out on the home incarceration? So you put them in there, then you got 40 more. So that problem evidently is, well, it's helpless.
And that's
It's
what
not a
I'm
cure-all.
saying, Larry. I mean, the absolute great situation would be do a 500 or 600 bed facility out in the county somewhere, but I don't think we can afford it. I just don't think that it's feasible right now, but if we could do a 100-bed facility to relieve the jail and reduce the cost to the taxpayers of Madison County, I think it's just, it's an ideal situation, and we couldn't do it until they passed the House bill.
Well, I said 20-plus years ago, I was here, and when we built that jail, I said it's not near big
You
enough. I
and you
wish we
did,
had done more, but
and
we didn't.
in '95 we did in addition to that,
Absolutely,
and it's full.
I agree.
Okay. IT department personnel. We've got a few personnel department decisions to make. Tracy, who has been working with Chris, decided the city of Richmond advertised, and she decided to go with the city of Richmond. So we have an opportunity here because Ryan Edson, who's been working with CSEP program, he has been 2 years of training with you, Chris. Been there 6, 7 years. Does an outstanding job. Carl told me he spent about $15,000 of federal money on his education as an IT person. And Carl doesn't want to lose him, but Ryan's very much interested in coming to the county. And I don't care to tell you all this, with his 2% raise, as we gave everybody, of course theirs doesn't go into effect until October, he makes $46,000. He's willing to come back to the county to work with Chris, who he's worked with since he's been here, for $42,000, take a $4,000 pay cut. And the main reason is because he wants the security of a county job, and as we all know, the mustard's going to start going in January of 17, and once that happens, really before then, and next summer, CSEP will go to 24/7. In other words, they'll be working 3 shifts. They'll be operating just like 911 does. So Ryan has showed an interest because of his relationship with Chris. He showed an interest in coming to the county to work. Outstanding employee. Can't say enough about him. He's just a good guy, and he'd like to come assist Chris. Now, this is kind of twofold, because 42,000, that really isn't a whole lot for an IT person. Some people think it's a whole lot. But Chris has his hands full. He takes care of like 20 or 30 departments in the county. I mean, from the Berea Police to the EMS, the 911, and he isn't in the position to try to bring somebody in and spend 6 or 8 weeks to train them, and then for us to spend 12 to 15,000 to send them to school. So I think this is a great opportunity to bring somebody he can hit the ground running. He's experienced. He's been involved with 911, with CSEP, with everything that Chris has. So I've talked to Chris about it. Chris really likes Ryan, you know, and I know there's some arguments here. Well, let's try to find somebody else. But Carl has the accessibility because of CSEP that he can bring somebody in at a little more money than we could if we hired off the street. So to me, it's a lateral move. Tell you the truth, I looked at the KRS, and lateral move really doesn't need court's permission, but
Oh, heck, I'll make the motion, Judge.
But I want everybody to be involved here. I want everybody to have a say. But this is an ideal opportunity for Ryan to come to work for the county. We're getting an excellent young man that does a great job, and he can assist Chris. And it's just, Billy Ray, it's a no-brainer.
With the technology that we have and the size of the government and as many computers, one person can't keep up with all of it. You need a good, strong IT staff in this day and time. And if you got a good man and he'll come for that, you better get him. That's what I say.
Thank you, Billy Ray. I've got a motion. Can I have a second? I'm gonna second it, if you don't, because, I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. I'll second, Kenny.
More discussion?
Hmm?
Let's make sure there's no more discussion before I call.
I need some discussion.
My discussion is, the employee we had was making 31,000.
33.
Well, 33,000, and we're going to 42. It's $9,000 increase.
What was the skill level of the person that left? I mean, if you
Well, she
told
must
me-
have been doing good. She was a worker here up until this point. She decided to transfer, so. That's the-
She is,
How long would she work for you, Chris?
come on, come and talk to us, Chris.
About a year and a half, 2 years.
She
You know,
had-
you pay for skill sets, Greg. Diesel mechanic versus gas mechanic. That position she was in was help desk. That was desktop PCs and printers. That's all she could do. Not that she didn't have some knowledge of other things, but her main focus in the job was desktop PCs. Ryan is already, you know, taking the training for virtualized desktops, which we're moving everybody to here because he's already doing it with CSEP. Virtualized servers. We don't have physical servers. All of these things that he's done, you know, she didn't have experience in, and she was able to take a job doing the same thing she was doing at the city for more money. So kudos to her to be able to do the same job and get more money at another place. Probably less work, and I think she would tell you the same thing. So, you know, it was a win-win for her to be able to go somewhere else, and there's probably opportunity to move up there, take a different position inside the city with their IT department, make more money. Here, there's only 2 positions. That's probably all there will be for a little while, unless it gets way out of hand.
You got a guy that's local, that's not going to jump and leave you, so.
Yeah, to my knowledge,
it's a safe
the only
investment.
certification she had was a Network Plus, which we provided to her through the training and the test. Ryan is a Microsoft certified IT professional. He's a Microsoft certified systems administrator. He's a Microsoft certified enterprise administrator, and he's been to the virtualized desktop training and the virtualized infrastructure training. He's a $55,000 or $60,000 employee. Bottom line.
Well, I mean, I can't, begin to think about the education for IT, because, I mean, as you look at it, it's beyond my ability. And I know that we have to have them and the technology today, but the point is, as I see, is did she not have no opportunity to move up to that position? I mean, to take the training?
She accepted the position with the city. I didn't have any.
Beforehand, did she have the opportunity?
For what?
For this kind of pay increase?
Opportunity.
To be educated?
She went to a training a year. She was only here 2 years. That's part of the deal and that was the deal that when the judge hired me, it was, well, you got to provide me training, because we're not just, we have to stay up. It's just like police officers. You can't just put a cop on the road and expect him to be a good cop. He's got to be trained every year, and he's got to meet so many hours. We're the exact same way. You just have to keep going, or you're going to fall behind. And that's why we're so successful, is you guys allow us to go to the trainings and keep up with the technology and keep ourselves better. She unfortunately had an opportunity to only go to 2, and she went to those 2, and I'm sure she learned a lot, and she took those skills with her. But Ryan's been at the county 7 years with those opportunities, so obviously he's had more training.
So when he comes in today, he can take off full speed?
Absolutely. My wife's going to have a baby. It could happen at any moment now. She's almost 35 weeks pregnant. I would feel completely comfortable if I had to go today, right now, he could make this thing run with minimal interference from me.
May I speak, Judge?
Kid.
We entered an agreement back, beginning of the end of my first year, that we stopped paying $9,000 a month for IT support for our record side computers. $9,000 a month. That was rental and support and that was no network support. That was just hardware support. That gentleman's wife has a baby. He's gone. We won't be recording deeds and mortgages in the clerk's office. Anything that happens, there won't be anybody there to repair it. So you need to figure that into your decision, that I have stuck my neck out and counted on the support from the county IT. And if he's not supported, then I'm not supported. And if I'm not supported, then we have a problem, we're down.
Sound like he's holding a gun to her head, isn't he?
No, sir, I'm just telling you
No.
the situation that I'm in.
No, I agree, I understand.
So,
It's just, we're in the position of, we have absolutely the best IT person, and I say this, Kenny, and I think you'll agree, in the whole country, and,
He's available, I'll say.
and
doesn't-
it's just like.
and he
with-
doesn't make enough, and now we've got the opportunity to bring somebody in that he's comfortable with, that can support him, because I've told him, when this baby comes, you come back when you want to. And
It's
I
just like
mean-
you talk about with Leroy in the road department and doing their own construction. Chris does that with the IT department. There's a lot of stuff that he could just hire out and pay a whole lot more for, but we work together and try to find a solution on our own that saves thousands of dollars. And you do that all day long, at the end of the year's time, you save a lot of money. We're
He's-
doing things in Madison County with this virtual computers.
Nobody's
Not
doing
just in government, but people in industry, people that are really forward thinking and looking ahead aren't doing this kind of stuff.
These IT folks, these kind of skills, they ain't a dime a dozen. You ain't just gonna find them just going down the street. They're hard to find. If you got one we're needing one, when you got one that's wanting to come for that kind of money,
I agree with it, Ray. I mean,
I don't question the gentleman's skills. I just question the change in the pay. And where he's at now, he's getting paid by federal money. And you can say it's not coming out of our pockets, but it is, because we pay federal tax, and it's federal money. But it's going to CSEP, which they can pay out more money for their help than we can. Now he's coming to the county, and that's a county burden. It's not just going to be coming to us every year through federal money. And he may be worth the $9,000, but I don't see that much of an increase, and
Well,
I
Roger,
told-
that's $4,000 of penny apiece. Everybody in the room that isn't paying on the federal taxes. I mean, seriously, he's, you all just don't understand to get somebody that's qualified, that's familiar with everything that we do. I mean, Chris brings in over $50,000 a year in contracts, just helping other people. And then to have somebody that he's comfortable with, that he feels comfortable with turning something over with if he's gonna be gone for a week or 2 weeks or 2 months. I don't care, Chris, whatever time you need to take. I mean, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense than trying to hire somebody off the street with no experience, and you're not gonna get anybody with any experience at $35,000 a year.
You heard I was saying an ounce of prevention's worth a ton of cure. Now, we've had pretty good warning that there's some change. This guy, he's got some changes coming, and I don't want, we can prevent a problem, or we can have a mess on our hands if we don't prevent it. It's much easier to prevent one than it is to fix one.
Well, let's vote.
I have a motion from Bill Ray, a second from me.
Master King?
I'll vote yes.
Master Barger?
Nothing against the gentleman, but I vote no.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Absolutely. No question.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Chris. All righty. Next on the agenda is our 12-13 holiday calendar. And, Bill Ray?
I love this part.
Bill Ray from his time before. What we do, and Francet works closely with the state, and we try to maintain what the state does, because when the state shut down, there's not a whole lot we can do either. And what we did this year was we dropped President's Day,
Presidential election.
the president's election, and we added Columbus Day.
That's correct. And I did try to check with the state to see if they knew of any furloughs that would be happening. So if they were close to a holiday or for any reason, because I know it's terrible on the court system in the county, everybody knowing when they're on furlough, they did not have any anticipated furloughs that they would give out any dates for. So I don't know anything about the state calendar in that respect. But the only change was that we dropped the presidential election and added, so it's the same amount of days, I think.
So I would open the floor for discussion on that.
Were
Just
the,
glad Halloween wasn't on there.
just a question to clear me up, is on the road department, were they on 10-hour shifts? Is this completely 10 hours, like if the holidays falls on Christmas, be 20 hours instead of?
No, if they're working because they're Monday through Thursday, if a holiday falls on that Monday through Thursday, they're just off, they get off that day. If a holiday falls on Friday, on a day that is their normal day off, they get 8 hours pay. They do not get 10.
Just like regular 40 hours a day.
Did we drop Columbus Day last year because of the election?
Yes.
Make a motion. Approve.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Okay, Personnel Road Department. Leroy?
Hey, no.
have one person to recommend the court to hire, Neil Cates, for a truck driver. He does have a CDL license, just got him last week. And he's been a part-time employee all summer while he's working on getting his license.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Collins?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Thank you.
Yes.
Where's that put you, Lee Royal? I mean,
Well, I've
Full
got,
Full short.
I've got two off right now, knee surgery. Got one talking about having to take off, having surgery on his arm, and I got another talking about quitting, starting business, so I don't know.
so it'd probably be a good idea if the master get CDLs for the snow.
Well, it hurt me.
I done got mine. So.
I'm gonna work at federal scale while I work.
Two of them, I think, is gonna be back by the end of the month, the two with knee surgery, so then I've got another talking about quitting, so I just have to see if he does it, see where we're at. But thank you.
That time of year again,
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Lee
I'm
Royal.
agreed.
And you stay out of the truck, Leroy. All right, next, Personnel Treasurer's Department. Glenna?
We had 28 applications for this position, and we interviewed 6. A couple of the magistrates got to sit in on some of the interviews. We felt like we had 3 very qualified people, and we recommend Judy Wilhoit to hire.
What was the name?
Judy Wilhoit. She currently works at the Madison County Utility District part-time, doing HR and payroll.
So I'd ask, is there any discussion? I think, Roger, did you and Greg both get to?
yeah, I sat in on 3 of the interviews, and Greg sat in on 5, I think. And they chose one of the ladies that I didn't get to sit in on, but talked to Greg about it, and Glenn
Greg, were you comfortable with her?
Yeah.
I think she's
Very.
overqualified.
She's got
Uh,
lots of experience.
So, on the recommendation of Glenna and her application board, a motion be in order to hire Judy Wilhoit.
Make a motion, we hire Judy Will.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Collins?
Yes.
Judge Clark?
Yes. Judge's report, we have a ribbon cutting at God's Outreach Food Bank. And I was wanted to ask all the magistrates if you're able to be there. It's November 15th at 2 p.m. Jane Bashir will be speaking there. And it's an exciting time. They're doing a wonderful job. I mean, they've got a great facility. They're in the process of trying to buy a little bit more land for parking and stuff, but it's just one of those special things that we've been able to support and been able to sponsor as far as getting the CDBG for them, and it's just something special. Secondly is Jerry Combs, our sheriff, has gone through liver transplant, as I'm sure everybody knows, and Jerry's doing an excellent job. I mean, he's coming through it real well. Jerry's tough, and Jerry will make it just like our magistrate Larry did. You know, it's one of those hereditary things that sometimes when it gets in the family, it gets in the family, and Jerry's come through it real well, and just hopes and prayers for him. And Linda Ginner, the reason Linda isn't here today is she called me yesterday afternoon, and Greg thought he had a gallbladder attack and got to her doctor in Lexington, and it was an aneurysm. So he was under the knife about 3 hours last night, doing really well. Just got a lot of tubes and stuff sticking out of him. And Linda, she went home about 3:30 this morning, called me back about 7, and want just thoughts and prayers for Greg too, because he's a good guy. And we're all getting up around that 60 age, so we need a lot of help, I'm telling you.
That's beautiful.
I'm serious. 3 broke ribs, but seriously, Greg came through it, and he was very lucky that they got it before it bursted. My dad died of an aortic aneurysm in my bedroom. Matter of fact, at the old house. Killed him in about 3 minutes. So it's a very serious operation, but everything went well. He's going to be in the hospital for 5 or 6 or 7 days. And we all want to give our prayers to Greg. And that's all I have in the judge's report. I'd ask for department heads. Anybody? If not, Keith, nothing going on at the animal shelter?
Staying busy.
How's the cat house?
It's full swing.
How many inmates you got?
Probably 100.
The state gonna take some of them away.
We'll pay them.
Comments from magistrates, Greg?
Well, I'm glad to say that between Leroy and the road department crew that went out and they got our buffalo opened up, and I'd like to give them thanks. Made a nice road back there for the people in that community, and thank you for your work on getting it done. And that'd be all.
Roger?
The only thing I got is, I've been waiting for Leroy to get back. I just wanted to let him know that I got an email from the lady that was thanking me and the road department for getting the culvert fixed. Of course, I can't tell you the lady's name right now. But she said she called the office and thanked the secretary, tell the road department. Her very words are she's very impressed with the professionalism that they used and how quick they did the job. And when they cleaned up, it looked like they'd never been there, and they'd done the job, and she was just very impressed. So you always hear the bad deals, but you don't hear the good. So I just want to let them know when I hear the good, I tell them about it.
Thank you, Roger. And they are the best, trust me. Bill Ray?
Good to be in Berea today and have a good meeting, a lot of good spirited discussion, and a good meeting.
Larry?
Well, Judge, I can't help not thanking the city of Berea for letting us use this facility, and that's one of the ways we bring court back to southern Madison County from time to time. And I also want to thank the 59.6% that went voted this time. And I love seeing us get 75 one day. After all, that's the only freedom you got. And if you just look around, a lot of people don't have that. So it's good to see we had 59.6. I was hoping for 62. I think Kenny was also, but 59.6 better than nothing. And Judge, I appreciate your comments about Sheriff Combs, and he is doing good. And thank you, and thank everybody for keeping him in your prayers. And I'm just glad to be here, Judge.
Glad to have you.
The age we're getting, we're both.
I'm telling you, beautiful thing.
Any comments from the audience? If not, another good meeting, as always. Motion to pay the claims and approve the transfer.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barber?
Yes.
Master Hughes? Master Combs? Judge Clark?
Yes. Thank everybody for coming in. Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Yes.